Okay, so start up, you gotta brush all the hair out. Striker has an extremely thick mane, to the point that there's actually 2 parts to it, and we're going to be braiding 1 part. When you do what's called a half in, which is the newest style, the more popular style of braiding a draft horse right now, is that you braid half of their hair in. So as you can see, there's almost a complete line down. I tend to leave one side a little longer for braiding purposes, and this side I keep trimmed almost hunter size. It's obviously a little outgrown right now as it is November. But then let's get this part done. So you saw the line where there's some length and some knot. You can really tell now when I pull it over that it is longer in this order. So, yeah, Striker, you're not being helpful. It does like to fall dual. He's basically, I think there's even a term for it when they have so much. All right, keep your thing handy, and here is the actual mane roll. I'm going to go with purple on this side. One thing I find really convenient is right towards the end, if you take it and put it in a half slip knot. Don't tie it into a knot that's going to frustrate you later, but basically you're able to have a little bit of weight on that. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Just a little half in, so that way you have a little weight to toss back and forth. It doesn't matter what side you start what color on. However, in details, maybe if you're doing a team, it's always nice to actually always repeat having the same hair or having the same color start. So you start off with a pinch of hair, and hopefully this is going to be at a good angle. And you lay this even. You grab your next pinch of hair, which is going to just be the other half, just on this half, and you twist the 2. Keep that pressure down. I pull this hair out of the way, and then you will cross over your strands of cloth. You grab the next pinch, and you keep these rather small, so that way you don't build up a lot. You're gonna wanna tighten, tug, tug, and then twist again. Laying it down and flop your 2. So you're essentially twisting cloth and hair, cloth and hair, cloth and hair, and trying to keep it as tight as possible the entire time. This is not like washed mane or anything, so it's a little dirtier. And then always just be tugging, tugging, tugging straight, and tugging, 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 to have it tight. There, you'll come across a lot of problems, like what Striker is giving me right now is he's maybe not being the biggest doll to do this on. A lot of horses will give you some attitude. Obviously, we all remember getting braided as a kid by our parents that we always thought it was too tight. It's not gonna kill them. They love showing off, so it's just get over it. Easy. And twist. Again. He's like, dude, what are we doing? I haven't had to have this in over a month. How are we dealing with this? Another pinch. Tugging straight. Notice they're small. I would probably, if I was in the show ring, I would probably do even smaller pinches of fabric, of hair. But I am just trying to get through this. It's kind of a mess. So maybe I'll do another one of these when it comes summer and you guys can get a better view that we have half of it braided. This is literally straight out of his head. It's not ever been in the mix or anything. That used to confuse me a lot when I was learning or when I was a kid. Pick up your next bunch. Stop, Striker. you can always kind of feel it shifting down into the situation that it's supposed to be. I have since gotten much larger, longer mane rolls. Almost too much, one would say, for a couple of them. But I really liked the extra flare at the bottom. And it's also getting to be very popular to only go with one color, which obviously for learning technicalities, it would have been really difficult to sort of see what you were doing. However, when you are done, it makes it so the mane is not as easily like distinguished as being short or long, and it is much easier to see how it looks. So, you can also always have somebody pull and hold the cloth things, the mane roll itself. It's much easier. You aren't constantly having to check on yourself. However, that does make it so it takes two people to do one mane roll, when you could be having two people do two different mane rolls. So I kind of struggle with the fact it makes it easier. Struggle with the fact that it takes more effort. You know, there's pros and cons to most everything. So, right. Sometimes you'll have shorter hairs. Sometimes they'll be longer. And you keep going down and down. So, although that's sort of it, it's a little sloppy being that it is as dirty as it is. You continue this pattern down the rest of his neck. No mini here, that's for sure. No small amount of hair either. You would want to make sure that your horse's head was tied up high, tight, as you're going to have him showing, so that way he's unable to stretch it out the way Striker here has been doing. So, at the end, you would twist two hairs and twist your two mane rolls. Okay? And then you would twist these again, the two hairs, and twist the fabric. And over to end it in almost its own little rope situation. Then loop around in a 4, Striker, and tie a knot, and you're ready to put on your collars and go into the show ring. So I would be doing the entire thing. It's just, obviously, it does take a good amount of time, and for the sake of everyone, I don't think you want to watch me do it. It does end up being about, I don't know, 40 twists. When undoing them, it's technically easier on the other side to just do this quick untwisting motion. It's always satisfying to pull them out. I imagine the horses find it even more satisfying. Oh, now he's going to stretch down. Yeah, that feels good. You hate having your hair pulled. It's okay. Sometimes it gets tangled up. And like I said, his hair is super dirty. You do want to make sure you wash them the day before and maybe add some texture spray. But here you go, buddy. That's on mane rolling. Right?